Ipe upendo ipo halisi kwenye streets mitaani machizi uko flatmates kwenye kaya za mabao vile inafaa.
Hey guys, welcome back to Introduction to Civil 3D. Today's class we're going to be looking at lesson 2, which is creating an alignment, and we're going to pick up from where we left off in the previous video. If you haven't watched that video, you need to watch it so that you can be able to link concepts as we move along with this tutorial. Right, so let's get right onto it. So in the previous class, we imported these points that are on your screen right now. So to create an alignment, this is a procedure. The first thing you need to do is to come here to polyline, and you're going to create a polyline. Now you're trying to draw a polyline that lies as centrally as possible in between these points that you imported. So I'm going to start mine at roughly somewhere here, and then I'm going to make sure that my line is as centrally positioned as possible. So yeah, let's do that in between these points. Remember to make sure that your line lies as centrally as possible in between your points. It's extremely important that you do that. And then we finally end there and we say enter. So that's as centrally positioned as possible, and if it's not where you want it to be, we can be able to edit that out once we create the alignment. So now that you have your polyline drawn, the next thing you need to do is to come here on your menu bar once more, come to alignment, and then you're going to say create alignment from objects. It's going to tell you to select the first line or arc or polyline. So in our case, we drew a polyline. So you're going to come here and you're going to select your polyline and say enter. And then it's going to ask you to either maintain the direction that has been selected, which is this, or to reverse it. So I'm going to choose to maintain my direction. So I'm just going to say enter. And then it's going to bring this text box that you're going to fill out. So it's important that you name your alignment. I'm just going to name it MK1 to MK70 alignment. There we go. We're going to leave everything as is, and I'm going to leave my default radius as 200 meters, and then I'm going to go into my design criteria and I'm going to change my design speed to say 80 kilometers per hour, and then I'm going to say okay. So what happens is that now your alignment has been created, and how do you know that? It's because your sharp corners now have curves. So your alignment has been created. Now you can be able to edit your alignment using things called grips. So if I click on my alignment, if I do that, there's these things here, these little blue squares that form. These are called grips, and they're used to edit your alignment. So we're going to look at what each grip does and how you can be able to edit your alignment using these grips. So the first grips are the ones that are at the end of your alignment. So either at the beginning of your alignment or at the end of your alignment. And the purpose of these grips is that they control the location of the beginning point and the end point of your alignment. So for instance, if I move this grip to say somewhere here, then that's where my alignment begins. If I want to bring it back to where it was, I can do that. So that's what those grips do. The next grip is your midpoint grip. This is at the midpoint of your tangent, and the purpose of this grip is that you can maintain the direction of the tangent while moving the other geometry that's adjacent to it. So if I move this, yeah, the direction is maintained, the direction of my tangent, but I can move the geometry that's adjacent to it, as you can see. Yeah, that's exactly what that does. Now we go to the next grip. This is your PI right here, this little triangle. The next grips are located at curves, so I'm going to select a curve that's well visible, that you can be able to see the grips more distinctly. So I'm going to select this curve, for instance. So as I mentioned, this is your PI. So let's go into the curve. So the first two grips that you encounter at your curve are the ones that are at the ends of the curves. So these are your PC and your PT grips. So what happens is that if you move either one of them, you can either make your curve radius bigger or smaller. So if you move these away like that, the curve radius gets bigger. If you move them towards this other direction, the curve radius becomes smaller. The next grip is this one right here. It's located on the curve and it's called a pass-through point. So what this means is that you can force your curve to pass through a specific point that you'd like it to pass through. So for instance, if I wanted this curve to pass through, say somewhere here, then I can move this down and my curve now passes through there, as you can see. And then finally, the last grip is your radius grip, which is this small triangle that's right here next to this grip that forces your curve to move wherever you want it to pass through. And this right here is your radius grip, and you can use it to change the radius of your curve. So yeah, that's it. So in this case, with our alignment, we're going to use those grips to edit it out. So for instance, this particular line doesn't pass as centrally as possible in between my points, as I mentioned, so I can just hover over this and move it to where I think it is as centrally positioned as possible. As you can see, yeah, somewhere there. My curves are looking smooth, so that's not really a problem right now. This part right here is not as centrally positioned as I'd like it, so I can move this up just a little bit. There we go. And yeah, that's it as far as editing out my alignment is concerned. So that's it for today's lesson. We've looked at how to create an alignment. If you'd like to see more of these videos, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with your other engineering friends who would like to learn this software as well. And yeah, also, if you haven't checked out the video on importing points, be sure to do that, and I will see you guys in the next lesson. Bye guys.